Welcome back to Letting Go University. It's lesson 364. Just a couple left here. Not sure where we're going to take this live stream going forward. It's likely we'll start the lessons again coming up on the new year and just start fresh, go through it again. But for now, we'll just wrap it up, and I'm open to any suggestions in the comments of what you guys would like to see for some of these live streams. Maybe even experimenting with having some of you guys on and going through one-on-one releases live here in these sessions. But that's the thing. I don't know. What do I want? What do I want? I want it to go my way. This surrendering to God stuff, this turning it over to God, this giving God my will in my life as if it was something that I could give him that he didn't already have. There's so much self-will, personal will that's going on. And the self-will, the personal will is whatever level of consciousness somebody's at. It's not very effective. Divine will, when we invite that in, it's a very powerful energy, a very, very powerful energy, which this can't even touch it. So to try and do things from personal will, even the Course in Miracles lessons, even your letting go, trying to do it from personal will, small self-will, is not going to be very fruitful. Certainly a lot more of a struggle. And to turn everything over to divine will, to relinquish control, and to allow God, it's letting go and letting God. It's surrendering everything to God. The ego is not even interested in this. In fact, it's going to be fighting it the whole time. So when we say, "This holy instant would I give to you, be you in charge, for I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace," it's relinquishing control. It's relinquishing my way. It's relinquishing personal will to turn it over to divine will. And only ego's afraid. There is no fear in what you really are, but in what we've been pretending to be and identifying as a small limited ego, a small separate body, a separate mind, and all of these emotions. That's where the fear hangs out. And it says, no, don't let go. So would you be, and it pretends it knows, it really pretends, it fantasizes that it's in control and that it's getting things done and it's doing things. When in fact, for the small self to do anything requires an infinite number of circumstances to have already been established. And then the ego, the small self, in a second takes credit for it. So today, for this final lesson 4, we're going to look at relinquishing self-will, doing it on our own, and surrendering to self-will, capital S self-will, divine will, God's will, letting go and letting God. Let's begin. This holy instant would I give to you. Be you in charge. For I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace. This moment, I let go and let God. God is in charge. For I would follow God, certain that his direction gives me peace. Right now is yours, O Lord. Be you in charge, for I would follow thy will, certain that it gives me peace. And so just opening up to that, that's a very sincere request. That's not an ego request. This happens by grace. The very fact that you're here, doing A Course in Miracles lessons, doing letting go and surrendering to God is a gift of grace. grace. By grace we are released. By grace we live. So that's a good sign that things are already going in a very divine direction, a very peaceful direction. And what if it's just going to continue to unfold like that? More and more and more grace, releasing you. And that's happening all the time, but the ego tries to control it, wants to do it its way. There's this personal will that thinks it needs to manage and control God and how things are unfolding. It fights this grace, really. And so could you just notice if there's any sense that you need to do it your small self? Just notice if there's any wanting control, wanting to manage it, figure it out. There might be some fear there. And just noticing this feeling behind this sense that there is a separate ego that's running the show. And that's okay. Without judging it or moralizing about it, could you just notice that sense? And we've been releasing on this, so it might be familiar. There's that wanting control, wanting separation, wanting security, wanting approval. What will my friends think if I just surrender to God? What will my boss think? My coworkers? So just noticing this sense that that there's a self-will that's going to get it done, a small self-will, the ego's going to get it done. And feel that feeling, whatever it feels like. It might be an energy in the chest, in the stomach, in the head, in the throat. Wherever that feeling is, could you just open up and just allow this now feeling and let the thoughts scroll by without engaging them. When you engage with the thought, you get more and more of it. Could you just drop into that feeling? Let that feeling be there. The feeling itself is a small self-survival program, an ego survival program. And could you just open this feeling up and surrender it to divine will, capital S, self-will. Turn it over. And even that very surrendering is by grace. It's nothing the small personal self has to figure out. It's just an allowing. Could you simply allow surrendering to happen? Surrendering personal will, this feeling, to divine will. Capital S, self-will. It's just a feeling. Would you surrender it to God? And that's all that's going on here when we say, this holy instant would I give to you. Be you in charge, for I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace. And the ego has been trying to manage and control this, the personal will, the small self. So all we're doing in these final lessons is surrendering that feeling that says, I'm not okay, I need to manage something, I need to do something, and turning it over to divine grace, divine power, divine will. So noticing any more of the egos clinging to some kind of imagined control, needing to do it its way. And it's okay. Remember, it's going to resist this. The ego doesn't want to relinquish itself. So noticing that feeling, aware of that feeling, could you just acknowledge and allow the feeling, letting the thoughts drift away without following them, opening up that feeling, sitting with that feeling, noticing that feeling, and just allowing it to dissolve into grace. My son, my daughter, same thing. You never needed these feelings or these thoughts. Could you surrender? Could you surrender the personal will? To divine will. It's just a choice. I'll never force you. Would you surrender personal will to divine will? This feeling, just surrendering it, turning it over. This holy instant, giving this feeling, these thoughts, the personal will to God. And it just takes what it takes. When could you surrender your personal will to divine will? Your small self to your divine self? It's just a choice. It was just a choice to imagine you could be separate from divine will. It's just a choice to surrender separation from divine will. And so you might say, this holy instant would I give to thee, O Lord. Thou art in charge, for I would follow thy guidance and thy direction, certain that it gives me peace. And to just allow up this potentiality, the power of this decision. This holy instant would I give to you. Be you in charge, for I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace. That is an invocation of divine will to relinquish and replace the small self-will by your permission, by your allowing, by your acknowledgement. And so this idea is incredibly powerful, and the ego will fight it. No, my will, not divine will. Divine will, bad. Divine will, scary. Personal will, yeah. But even that is fraught with its own fear. And so could you notice this fear? This fear of relinquishing the personal ego, relinquishing personal will, turning it all over. Any fear that remains, any wanting for the small self, and could you just allow that up? Feel what that feels like. And just opening up, allowing any of that ego resistance to your decision to surrender to God, to let go and let God. Just opening that up. Nothing to fight, nothing to challenge and claim it's real. Could you just open up, feel that feeling, and allow it to dissolve in divine grace? Could you surrender the ego's fear, the ego's desire to divine will? Turning over the small self to the divine self. Would you surrender small self-will to divine will? When could you surrender small self-will to divine self-will, capital S self-will? The power of decision is your own. The name of God is your inheritance. Far beyond the name your parents gave you or the one you choose to identify with as a small, separate personality. It is your choice to attempt to be separate, pretend that that's possible, and live in a dream, an imagination that you are somehow apart from your holiness. Though that is the invitation that divinity is always extending to you. Come home. Surrender. Let go of trying to force separation upon yourself. This holy instant would I give to you. Be you in charge, for I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace. I would follow you, my son. I have placed all trust in you. All power in you to decide what is thy will for the world. This holy instant would I give to you. Be you in charge, for I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace. And so all of creation waits, looking to you to embrace your divine will and choose. Will you choose peace? Or will you choose this imagined personal self? Will you choose heaven? Will you choose hell? Oh yes, we look to you. What do you choose, Father? What do you choose, my Lord Christ? What do you choose? For I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace. Thank you for the salvation of the world by your decision and through your forgiveness of illusions. Well done releasing.